when they were doing Nobel Peace Prize, and we had our own Wangari Maathai win the awards, and so the continent of Africa was so happy about what happened. And so in the next award, this Nigerian farmer went to his farm, and he was standing in his farm every single day, every single morning. So the villagers were like, "What are you doing here every day, every morning?" And he was like, "You people look like enemies of progress. Leave me alone." So he was there day in, day out, day in, day out. So one day, when a good friend of his went to him and asked him, "What is happening?" He said that, "I want to win this prize that was won by a Kenyan last year." And they asked him, "What do you mean by that?" And he was like, "This award is supposed to go to the person who is outstanding in his field." And that was his motivation for being outside in his field for that long time. And that's why he saw the villagers as enemies of progress. So, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Good evening. How are we doing? I have a very simple task this evening, but a task that means a lot to us as a collaborative, a task that means a lot to us as a people, because we have gone through a lot of time and we have invested a lot of resources in doing what we are about to do. So on behalf of the collaborative, on behalf of the people who have made this possible, we sat as a continent and as the Pan-African organizations who are championing local giving, who are championing philanthropy in this continent, to really what are the key issues which will propel this continent to the next frontiers. And we identified 3 issues. One of them was around the role that knowledge and learning plays in this process. And that is why on the last 2 days, we were focusing our efforts on the academic conference, because we appreciate the value that knowledge and learning plays in repositioning this continent for the impact that we want to see. Number 2 was around practice. And so the conference today and tomorrow, which is more about philanthropy in practice, was also identified as one of the issues that we need to drive as a continent. And so the 5th Africa Philanthropy Conference really means a lot to us in terms of advancing the conversations that we are having and the actions that we want to undertake in making this continent great. Number 3 was around, if you have strong knowledge and you have platforms that really advance learning and you are advancing the practice, and there are people in this continent, dignitaries in this space, who have really invested their time, who have invested their life in promoting philanthropy in this continent by practice, then the third thing that we identified was, how do we then recognize, how do we appreciate these people so that we can motivate other people, other generations, to also take over, to also advance similar efforts that they are doing. And that is what is bringing us here tonight, around appreciating, around recognizing, around challenging other people who are seeing the amazing work that they are doing, and then taking after them. And we thank you so much, Mama, because you led the way, and we are bringing up a generation that will take over after you. when that time comes. And so this evening, it's my honor on behalf of the collaborative to introduce and appreciate the people, the personalities who have made this possible. And so we had a committee, or rather we have a committee, that made this journey be what it is, that has made today be what it is, and probably will make next year and the years to come be what we envision them to be as a collaborative. And so my job today was to bring to the stage the members of the committee so that we can move to the next step of knowing who the winner of this year's Lifetime Award is. And so to enable us do that, we have with us here people that we really love as a continent, people that we really appreciate as a continent, people that have done amazing work in making African philanthropy be what it is. And starting us off as a member of that committee is a great friend of this sector and a great friend of this process, Mamadou Biche. I'm trying to locate. Oh, great. So we have Mamadou. Mamadou currently is the executive secretary for the Africa Capacity Building Foundation. And those of you who have known Mamadou, it doesn't need much introduction. He has worked in this space with very many institutions, and we appreciate his efforts in enabling this to happen. Number two, member of the board that made this possible is Emmanuel. I saw Emmanuel somewhere here. And Emmanuel is a very experienced researcher and a development practitioner with over 10 years working experience in this field of civil society and philanthropy, and specifically around resource mobilization. He has a PhD in international development, and we appreciate his efforts. Emmanuel, we appreciate you for the contribution that you made in making today and this process possible. The third person that I want to introduce in his absence is Dr. Akwasi. How many of you know Dr. Akwasi? May I just see a good round of applause for Dr. Akwasi, who was not able to be with us here today, but was a great member and resource in this committee. And then we have the other committee member, who is Nicolette. I saw Nicolette somewhere here. Let's give her a round of applause. Nicolette is a leading strategist globally, and she is really interested in the intersection between justice, feminism, and philanthropy. And we capitalized on that in making, again, this process possible. We have Marwa. I saw Marwa with her son, and that was amazing. Marwa, those of you who have been in this space for some time, you saw some time back, BBC had her as one of the most influential, under one of the most influential 100 women in the world, representing women in the Middle East and North America. And we also used that as an opportunity to strengthen this process while tapping on her expertise. And last and not least, was and is the chair of this process, who has been a friend of this sector and who has been an amazing personality in growing philanthropy and the feminist movement in this continent. Sarah Mukasa, please put your hands together and join me in welcoming Sarah to the stage. Sarah does not need much introduction, and we appreciate you, Chair, in making this process possible. And with those many remarks and with those lengthy introductions, we are now here for the moment of the hour. We are here to really know who is this year's Africa Lifetime Award winner. But before we get there, we want to just bring you up to speed on what are the criteria, what is it that really guided this process, not only this year, but also the previous years. And I want to invite my great friend Mamadou to enable us unpack that further. Mamadou, karibu.
Thank you. Asante, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening to everyone. Yes, the task is to talk, to tell you what are the criteria that we are using as a committee to select the winner. I hesitate to use the word recipient. But the winner of this award. So these are criteria that we developed as a group and which we revisit every year to try to fine-tune them. And definitely after listening to Mama Gracia this evening, I'm sure next year we are definitely going to fine-tune these criteria again. But these are 11 criteria that we apply. The first one is longevity. It's really the length of engagement in African philanthropy. And we put a minimum, the minimum being 10 years. A second criteria, the second, is the spread and scope of engagement in African philanthropy. This talks about the breadth and the depth of the engagement in the field. Third criteria is the leadership in the field, the leadership exercise demonstrated. Fourth is the Pan-African stance. We define it as really putting Africa first in that engagement and in that service. Five is reputation. The reputation of the individual being nominated in the field. Six is global influence. How influential is the nominee? How is the nominee able to represent African philanthropy globally and the ideas around that? Seven is thought leadership. How is the nominee contributing intellectually to advancing African philanthropy? Eight is impact. What impact has been demonstrated through their work and contribution in the field? The next one is engaging private sector and policy communities for philanthropy. How are they bringing the private sector and the policy makers in advancing philanthropy? And they said the last one, the 11th, is actually advancing transformative philanthropy. So these are the criteria that we use to select the winner. So I would like to say that the way we source these nominees is through you, through this community. So we want to encourage you to really nominate as many as possible people. And in that, we want to also specifically ask you to also nominate more women, because we do not receive enough women nominees. So when the process opens for next year, 2025, you will be notified and you will be able to nominate through the website. So I thank you. And at this stage, I want to invite Sarah Mukasa, our chair, to take us for the next stage. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mamadou. Oops. It's okay. I'll hold it. It's my distinct honor and pleasure to announce the winner of the 2024 African Philanthropy Lifetime Achievement Award. But before I do that, this person currently serves as the Chief Impact and Research Officer at one of the largest private foundations in the world. This distinguished individual is dedicated to building a world where all can learn, live, and prosper. The foundation enables pathways to work and economic opportunities for indigenous youth and millions of young people in Africa. Before taking this current role, this person spent 6 years as the executive director of the Partnership for African Social and Governance Research, an independent, non-partisan, Pan-African, not-for-profit organization based in Kenya. The person's previous experience includes serving as the director of higher education and libraries in Africa for a major US philanthropic organization. Additionally, the person worked at another prominent foundation in Nairobi as the Ford Foundation for Eastern Africa representative between 2003 and 2008. The person's earlier career highlights and includes their role as the Deputy Executive Secretary in Dakar for the Council for Development of Social Science, Research, and Research in Africa, CODESRIA. I think we're getting closer to knowing who this person is. Are we not? The person holds a distinctive and prestigious academic position at the University of Lagos, where they taught as a full professor of sociology in the Department of Sociology. Throughout their career, they've enabled and consulted for a number of multilateral agencies, including UNDP, UNICEF, UN Habitat, and the United Nations University, as well as the World Bank. This person has been a trailblazer, an opportunity creator. This person opened doors for many, 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 many of us. Created space, used his agency and his power in institutions where it was not always easy to do that. And he did it with great dignity, with great calm, massive intellectual engagement. Our recipient for this year, or our awardee, or our winner, our winner for this year is Dr. Tade Aina.
Uhambe nami zungangishilana Jerusalema ikayalami ilonoloze Dawo yami ayikholana, buso wami awukholana. Ilondoloze zuhambe nami. Dawo yami ayikholana, buso wami awukholana. Ilondoloze zuhambe nami. I'm shuffling, every day 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 I'm shuffling, shuffling. La mano arriba, cintura sola, da media vuelta, danza duro, no te canses ahora, que tú solo empieza, mueve la cabeza, danza duro, la mano arriba, cintura sola, da media vuelta, danza duro, no te canses ahora, que tú solo empieza, mueve la cabeza, danza duro. ¿Quién puede domar la fuerza del mar que se mete por tu pena? Lo caliente del sol que se te metió y no te deja quieta, nena. ¿Quién puede parar eso que al bailar descontrola tus caderas? Y ese fuego que quema por dentro y lento te convierte en...
Ladies and gentlemen, a massive round of applause for Dr. Tade. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, I'm going to do the unexpected. Before we invite Dr. Tade to share a few words, I'm actually going to ask him to take his seat and to turn his attention to the video screens because a few more people would like to congratulate you, sir. So to everyone on stage, may we please kindly take our seats? Dr. Tade, kindly please take your seats so you can see the screens. And to my colleagues in the technical department, let's play.
Hey, Tade, congratulations. You've done it again. Tade, no one represents in this generation a versatility within our sector, within the philanthropic sector as you do. It is your foresightedness, your ability to see beyond the here and now, and the broadness of your mind, and the deliberateness with which you have approached the intergenerational question that makes you stand out. You have won this award not because you've contributed to philanthropy, but because you've contributed to transformation in getting generations of Africans who are committed to giving back to society, to the values of mutuality, of reciprocity, to the values of solidarity, who stand with communities in times of need, who stand with communities to create social assets, who stand with communities to create social capital, but who stand with communities to create value that's transformative, that addresses poverty and wealth creation. We thank you for your commitment to African giving, but we thank you for your commitment to globalizing those African values, the cultural and social and political context that you have written about that determine the nature of giving, the nature of philanthropy, the nature of philanthropic institutions, and the thinking about giving. Tade, I hope there's some money in this, after I've given you all this praise, you dey share now.
Hello, Tade. It's a real pleasure to be able to send you this message. I'm so happy that you've won this award. You truly deserve it. You have been at the helm of so much of our rethinking about what we mean by African philanthropy. And I still remember when I read Helping to Give, Giving to Help. And what I loved most about it was the subtitle, The Politics of African Philanthropy. Thank you for the work that you've done in your own country, on our whole continent, but also globally, helping other people to understand that African philanthropy has a different meaning, has a huge history, and is something that we're truly proactive about. I really, really hope you enjoy receiving this reward. I hope you understand that this is about the love and the care and the respect that your peers have for you. Well done.
Well, I've known Tade for many, many years. You know, Tade and I come from academia. We knew each other from there. And then when we went into development work, he also was working in the development world. When he was chair of the international program at Carnegie, I was at the World Bank. We had meetings. We, really discussed many things together about Africa. And when I joined the foundation and I was looking for a director for research, there was nobody that I could think of but Tade. So I talked to him, and I was pleased that he immediately said, sounds like a good idea. I would like to be part of it. And I'm really, really so happy that he joined us, because at that time we were just starting to build the unit from the beginning. And Tade helped us build the research team. And as we were doing that, we were also working with another colleague who unfortunately passed away, who was heading the impact work, Suli Gariba. And we used to meet and have a lot of, discussions about Africa, about what is it that we can do, about impact, what it means in Africa, and so on. And so when Suli passed away in 2021, I asked Tade, would you take on this role? And without hesitation, Tade said, absolutely. And he took on the role, and again, he's built up from where Suli left to a formidable impact and research team. And more recently, when I needed somebody to support the learning function, again, I asked Tade, would you take this on? He said, absolutely. So now we have impact, research, and learning all under Tade and really thriving. I couldn't have found a better person for that. So really, we're going to be missing Tade. But his work is going to really last for a long, long time. And I look forward to continuing to work with Tade as we move forward. I'm sure that wherever it's going to be, we will be able to reach each other. And our vision, our shared vision on Africa and Africa's young people, and the transformation of the continent into a much better place for everyone to live is going to be realized some point in the future, maybe beyond our both lives, but we will have contributed to that journey. Thank you.
I'm absolutely delighted that Tade Aina is receiving this Lifetime Achievement Award. I can think of no better person who has contributed to the advancement of philanthropy, especially philanthropy globally and specifically in Africa. Tade brings wisdom, perspective, scholarship, and most importantly, he brings a heart and humanity. Tade is not just a leader, he is an exemplar of what it means to do philanthropy in Africa and across the world. So congratulations to Tade on this remarkable achievement. I salute you.
Hey Tade, I just heard that you have been chosen for the Lifetime Achievement Award. I can't think of anybody who has the spectrum that you have on African philanthropy. Your work, especially with MasterCard and Carnegie and Ford before that, but also the places you've been stationed, Nairobi, Cairo, the work you and I did together in Southern Africa and South Africa on higher education, the work you have done really across the continent. You're a Pan-Africanist at heart, you live the dream. I'm really recommending that you just enjoy this incredible recognition, and I hope you are a happy man today.
Hello, Professor Tade Aina, popularly known as Tade. Congratulations on being the recipient of the Lifetime Achievement Award. Happy to take note that we have reached this point where, after 27 years of knowing you, that many more organizations around the continent do recognize what you've done for the continent. And I just wanted to add my voice. You will remember that we first met in 1997 in Dakar. And we've had a really good journey, starting from Dakar all the way to Nairobi until you moved to Carnegie, again moved back to Nairobi. Now you are in Rwanda, and I suspect you are going to move back to New York. It has been a pleasure to see the amount of work you've done. It has been a pleasure to see the impact you have had on the community of African scholars in particular, but also in the philanthropy world where you have also developed a mark. It's also been interesting to see you grow and nurture young academics, young scholars, young practitioners who've become important players in the context in which we do operate. We celebrate you. We are happy that you're making this progress. We're happy that you're leaving behind a team of people who are going to continue with the legacy that you carried on. And we are happy that you have refused to get tired. As you move on and as you enjoy this award, I hope that you are going to celebrate it not just with the young people that you have grown, but also with your family. I had the pleasure of working with your daughter, Simi. I've seen her grow and become almost a replica of what you do. We wish you very well. For me in particular, I think that it's important to mention that you were the first person to publish my first academic article in 1997. You are the first person to give me a major grant from the Ford Foundation in 1999. And you've helped me as a person grow. I was happy to come into the organization where we first met in Codesria. And as I finish my term in Codesria, I hope that the pathway that you've created for some of us is going to continue to be an inspiration for the things that we hope to do. So I want to thank you and congratulate you again and to wish you all the very best. Please feel free to accept every award that comes your way that speaks to the good that you have done to society, because giving, as you said, is for the good. Thank you very much and all the very best.
Good afternoon. I just wanted to send a tremendous amount of congratulations and respect to Professor Tade Aina upon his win, his award, his Lifetime Achievement Award in Philanthropy. Obviously, Professor Aina is my father, but he's also, throughout the course of my whole life and most of his, been dedicated to the cause of philanthropy and strategic giving on the African continent. And it's been a strong passion of his, and one that I've had the tremendous pleasure to watch up front. Obviously, with me just recently becoming a father myself, just seeing how he has transferred those values and lived those values throughout his life has been empowering and inspiring. And I believe that this is an award that's truly very well deserved, and it could not happen to a better person. So congratulations, sir, on your Lifetime Award once again.
Hi, my name is Timmy, and I'm honored to say a few words about Tade Aina. As both his daughter and someone who works to support higher education through philanthropy in Canada, it is a privilege to celebrate him with you all today. From Lagos to Dakar, Cairo to Nairobi, New York to Toronto and Kigali, the impact of his work has spread across the continent. Wherever he has gone, he has carried Nigeria and the promise and capacity of Africans to learn, grow, and innovate as a given. The power of higher education and philanthropy to make significant changes in people's lives is unparalleled. His commitment to African philanthropy is a living legacy, with many colleagues and protégés who share in these successes and ambitions for Africa and African countries. On a personal note, I have seen firsthand the commitment he brings. It is truly inspiring to see him constantly energized by the people and the ongoing impact. Dad, your achievements are a testament to your hard work and passion. You have made an indelible mark on the field. Congratulations on this well-deserved Lifetime Achievement Award. We are all so proud of you.
Hi, Dad. First and foremost, congratulations for this remarkable recognition and this award that recognizes your contribution to philanthropy in Africa. I'm very, very proud of you. I think we are all very proud of you, to say the least. And it is the culmination of your life's work since you were a young lecturer at the University of Lagos. So one thing that you've always taught us is that it goes beyond just our needs as an individual. It is about our impact on our families, our communities, and on the world at large. So it is great to see you being recognized for the impact that you have continued to have on tons and tons of people across the continent and the world over. So thank you for this, for also teaching us all of these wonderful lessons. I hope and pray that this is the first of many, or that you continue to receive these accolades given how hard you work and how hard you continue to work. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to obviously congratulate you in this way, and to say I'm very proud of you and I'm lucky and honored to be your daughter.
Congratulations on your receipt of the African Philanthropy Lifetime Award. This is extremely well deserved, not just because of the work that you've done and continue to do at the Ford Foundation and the Carnegie Corporation and the MasterCard Foundation, but also because of the mentorship you do around philanthropy and your immense amount of contribution to knowledge production. As we know, as I'm privileged to know, this all stems from your own personal ethos, which we as a family are privileged to benefit from. And that is your spirit of generosity, your sense of service, and your commitment to giving back to the communities that shaped you and shaped us, wherever they may be. And lastly, your empathy. And this is something that you carry into the world of philanthropy and the world at large. So once again, congratulations. Love you, Dad.
Hello, everybody. I bring greetings from the Tade Aina household. My name is Florence Etta, and we were invited to send messages to this event on behalf of Tade Aina. Let me start by thanking the African Philanthropy Conference platform for inviting us to be part of this event. We're particularly grateful as a family. We thank you especially for instituting this award of African Philanthropy Lifetime Achievement Award is critical for us because we see it as important for recognizing people in their lifetimes for the work that they have done and they continue to do. And you have selected as a indicator 20 years of work in the area. And I'd like to acknowledge that indeed Tade, my husband, has done that. He has spent 17 years in higher education, 11 of those years in specific research institutions, and 20 of those years in philanthropy. Throughout all of his work in life, which he continues, he has been passionate about Africa, African young people, African researchers, and above all, philanthropy and the condition of the continent. I thank you for this recognition. I thank you because I know that he does everything, not in small measures. He pours his entire heart into his work. It is clear that others like you have seen this, and we are grateful for this recognition. We thank you because he's going to join the greats like Akwasi Aidu, Grassa Machel, and Jerry Salol in this space. I congratulate these other winners and wish you, us, the platform, and organizers of the Achievement Award, the best for the future. I congratulate you on this 5th conference and wish the conference organizers and all the participants the very best. My husband is my best friend, is my teacher, is my confidant, and he is easily drawn to being those for others. Above all, however, he is the best father. I'd like to congratulate him with my whole heart. He deserves this, and I'm sure that we all know that he does. They warned me about this. Congratulations, Balemi. Thank you.
Dr. Tade, Professor Tade, if we could call on a few words, sir. If we could call on just a few words. Over to you. A big round of applause, please, ladies and gentlemen.
Where's my doctor? Thank you all. I'm actually, thank you. I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. I'm a person of faith. I don't show it in my work, but I think it reflects. And when I go to Mass, and has nothing to do with any other faith, the main word is, I'm not worthy to receive this. But if you only say the word, you know. So that's how I feel, particularly because I'm on the same table with Mama Grasa Machel. And, you know, I was telling her the last time we met was with Willie and others. I think all my life and all my work has been to facilitate, to support. I'm so surprised in a very deep way that you actually brought my colleagues in my present institution, Rita and Peter. And I remember that when we were talking, I told Rita, I'll rather, I became chief. But I said, I would rather be a facilitator in chief. I'd rather be the person from behind who pushes and make other people's, who helps to make it happen. So I truly, but I'm so grateful. I think it's a life of gratitude. I spent some time, I don't know how many of you know Tandika Nkandawire. Tandika was I call him boss. I was a very young deputy executive secretary to Tandika Nkandawire. Oh, Abri Masai is here. He was in that team many, many years ago. And one thing that came from there was building. Building is almost like building a transformative militia. It's beyond the liberation movement, Madam Grasa. Building a transformative militia for this continent. And I thought, there are generals, there are brigadiers, there are foot soldiers, there are infantry, there are that. I always thought the best thing was to find my space there. Just like the local people on the grounds who provide the water, who provide the food, who provide whatever you need for that transformation. We used to call it revolution at that time. That transformation to happen on this continent. This morning when I gave the keynote, I think all those things are important. I really do. We cannot sacrifice technology. We cannot sacrifice the business solutions. We cannot sacrifice the strong governance. We cannot sacrifice the civil society. We cannot sacrifice the movement, but the heart, the commitment, they never say die. They can do. They can do that we're going to make this happen is the most important thing. When I read A Long Walk to Freedom, when I read so many things, it's not, for all of us, particularly philanthropy, it's not about the star. It's about the constellation of planets and stars. Some of us, always the star occurs, but there's always a constellation of planets. And we are all part of that. And so, I don't know how you guys made your decision. They've all disappeared. I don't know how you made your decision. and you thought, this character, because I see myself in many ways, but one thing is just the desire for the imagination and the desire to make it happen. So I thank you all, because I was hinted so that I don't have a heart attack on my table. And yesterday Onyeka Onwenu died, the Nigerian singer. I don't know how many Nigerians are here. She went, she's also an inspiration. She's a poet, she's a singer, she's a creative person. She went to an event, she sang, and then she went back to her table and she slumped and never recovered from there. So I think somebody saved me from that experience by hinting me that look, something is going to happen. So thank you for that. But this, we in philanthropy, we can't do it alone. But we've got to start. And Jerry, where are you? My brother Jerry. Jerry Salole. I call it Salole because I'm in Nigeria and I'm sure it's Salole or whatever. Whatever they call you. My brother Jerry, Akwasi Edu, and the whole group of people, Sister Theo. I saw somebody who was here, was chair of the committee that decided to impose this on me. Sarah and many people. But truly, truly, it's not just about us. It's about, I said that this morning in my keynote, it's about the movement. I think those of us here constitute a movement. And we are not going to say or impose on us the fact that we are the first people to do this kind of thing, because we have Mama here. We have a generation, Mwalimu, Nyerere, lots of other people, Madiba, several people before us. And I think we must always remember history. We must always remember the intergenerational dialogue. But we are part of that continuity, the flow of that river. And that's where climate change and green economics, we must never let that river dry up. We are part of that flow of that river that represents the continuity to change and transformation on this continent. And always remember to do your bit. When I interview colleagues, either for scholarships, for jobs and all of this, I'm always listening intently to, are you ready to give more than 100% here? Because it's not about 9 to 5. It's about a way to make this continent happen. And they have been custodians of how this country can be a better place. Kwame Nkrumah, Obafemi Awolowo, Kenneth Kaunda, Madiba, Nyerere, all of those people, we cannot dismiss them. We can't dismiss them. Patrice Lumumba. Sorry, I said Patrice Lumumba. Kagame. There are lots of the people who led movements, who led transformation on this continent. And we are all part of that chess table, the pieces on that chess table. So what we are doing today, what we are saying about philanthropy, and it's, I don't know, my colleagues from I'm trying to, the people who are working, Barry Knight, those who remember Barry Knight, yeah, and I remember that in the old conversations around this, there's the whole social democratic movement, even in the UK. And if you remember Beatrice Webb and her husbands, the creators of LSC and the Bloomberg Group, philanthropy is not enough. The state, and that's where one of the things that Mama Grassa taught us, the state, the private sector, all of that All those institutions are important in the transformation we seek to have. And I think that's something we should recognize. So I'm going to end this thing because I never processed it properly. And then the only conclusion I came to was, I am not worthy, enough. Whatever you say, she said, when Mama Grassa said, I'm taking this award on behalf of thousands, I'm just going to write on that. And I'm saying, I'm taking this award on the amount on behalf of people like Professor Radebe, Becky, all those people who are coming from the intellectual part of this thing. That's why we're doing this thing. We're doing whatever we're doing. At times, like Peter Materu, who was also a dean, a professor, and we are one of the few people who claim to be that part of the world. And then Radebe said, academics, in that area, we don't call ourselves, we don't even like to be called profs or doctors. We just like to be Tade and Peter and wherever we are. We are part of that, providing the intellectual armory for this transformation. So thank you very much. Thank you, colleagues in this world, that you thought I should be recognized, and you gave me the honor and privilege to be recognized. I'm still savoring it, and I hope and I feel it's going to be many more. So thank you so much. It's such an honor, and I hope in the intergenerational dialogue, from Mama to people like me, Akwasi, Jerry, then to people like Abrima and all of us were, hey, Mamadou too. Yeah, Abrima, Mamadou. So at Theo, as we pass it on, we pass the baton on, the struggle continues. We own this place. It can only be as good as we want it to be. Let's put all our effort in making it a better world for ourselves and an illustration for the rest of the world. Thank you so much. This is not for me. It is for others. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tade. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, absolutely the perfect moment for us to begin to wrap up our time together this evening. Before we depart, I'm going to call on Professor Becky Moyo to please join me on stage. He and I are just going to conclude the very last formalities of the evening. He's going to extend a vote of thanks. I'm going to remind you that we start at 9 a.m. tomorrow, not 9:30, 9 a.m. tomorrow. And he's also going to share some gifts with all our keynote speakers very briefly. And so I know that the team is standing by. Prof, if you would... Just the keynotes. May I? Okay. All right, thank you very much. May I please call on Mr. Brian Kagoro, who will be extending the keynote on Friday. Can I call upon Mr. Godwin Murunga, who, of course, extended an excellent keynote yesterday. Madam Makoma Lekalala is with us, but not with us this evening, so we will share that with her, but later. Madam Naila Faruqi, if you could join us on stage. Dr. Abebe Birhane, thank you very much, Madam, if you can join us on stage as well. And Dr. Tade, if you can make your way back. Ladies and gentlemen, may all those keynote speakers please come forward so that we might just share a small token of appreciation. And if I can ask you just to stand on stage so we can take a photo opportunity with all of you. Thank you very much. Can we give them a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? Naila and Abeba, are you with us? Makoma, I know, is not with us tonight. There's Naila coming up. Dr. Abeba, are you with us this evening? So I think we might share that token with her tomorrow. So just Naila, and then we'll take a group photo. In the middle, please, Nela, if you can. Thank you so very much. Fabulous. Let's take a photograph. Thank you very much. Professor Moya, I'm handing over to you for the vote of thanks. To our keynote speakers, you're kindly invited to resume your seats.
So good evening. I was caught because I was trying to think about what Brian just said to me. He said, are you giving me a bribe so that I can change my speech tomorrow? But I wanted to start by saying, talk about the next frontiers in philanthropy. And I'm sure all of you have noticed that on this board, I was alerted by my colleague Jacob, that on this board, we are actually a day into the future. It seems like we are on the 1st of August. According to the colleagues, they have taken us into the future, the next frontiers in philanthropy. Okay. So today has been, this evening has been really an emotional but great evening for all of us here because of its significance. And I say this because there are so many colleagues who are here who have contributed to the journey that all of us have traveled to be where we are tonight. Among us, obviously, I think the 2024 Lifetime Achievement Awardee, Professor Tade Aina. For those that might not be aware, there's been reference to the book, Giving to Help and Helping to Give. That book was co-edited by Tade and myself, but I'm raising it again because that book has become one of the seminal texts that is used by students globally, but also we use it at CAPSI for our students. There are so many of them here. They probably have been looking around and thinking, where is this person that wrote that first chapter in the book? And Tade did that. But I was also, I wanted also to say that among us are also colleagues that have really supported this journey. And I'm not really choosing these people and ignoring others. I'm really acknowledging them because I see them here. So one is the Jerry and Nicolette. And the two of them are former Ford representatives in Southern Africa. And the two of them has journeyed with us in setting up, for example, in my case, setting up CAPSI. Nicolette provided the first planning grant. I was telling Professor Maurice Khatebe that you are sitting next to the person who actually gave us the first planning grant and also provided the technical support through the person of Joseph Kitare, who used to work for the Ford Foundation in West Africa. Of course, by saying this, I'm not taking away from other donors who have been supporting, but I'm saying this because Nicolette has been one of those people who has really stood with the journey of CAPSI, but also philanthropy as a whole. So I wanted to use this evening to really thank you, Nicolette. I know you don't like it, but I wanted to do that. Jerry has always been part of the journey of many of our institutions, Trust Africa, CAPSI. In fact, I remember as a young person, I walked into his office. Those of you that know me and the work that I was doing, I actually used to walk into these philanthropic offices when I was doing my PhD research. I would walk in there and just ask for their files and everything. And at that time, I didn't even know that some of this stuff is confidential. I just wanted to know what's going on in the field of philanthropy. And Jerry gave me the opportunity to write the first paper on philanthropy. And at that time, the Ford Foundation was setting up what was called the Special Initiative for Africa, which later became Trust Africa. By the way, the word Trust Africa was coined by Tade. And Jerry is now a visiting professor at West Business School, teaching modules at CAPSI. I'm telling you a journey. But I would also be punished by the gods if I don't tell you this. When I was thinking of setting up the center, the chair first and then the center, of course with discussions with other philanthropic foundations, because this is one center that came from practice, unlike other centers that came from academia. I went to somebody who is very wise in this field and talked to her about this idea and asked her to accompany me in negotiating with vice chancellors. I remember vividly our last meeting at the Solomon Mahlangu House at West University. The vice chancellor then was Adam Habib and his team. And at that meeting, a decision was made to locate the chair at West University. And the person I'm talking about is Mam Mashel. So Prof. Maurice, Logan, our academic director, is here. Situmo, the operations director, is sitting somewhere. There's the finance manager, Terence, sitting also somewhere. And our marketing manager is sitting somewhere, Medupi. If this story is not captured, it's likely to be lost in the history of CAPSI. So I'm saying it publicly so that everyone knows that the history of CAPSI is incomplete without the mention of Mam Mashel. I also want to use this opportunity to thank those that have made this evening a success. I really know the work that our teams at Trust Africa, mainly CAPSI, have really gone out of their way into negotiating the various dimensions of making this evening successful. And so I want to thank the teams that were behind this. There are many for me to go through them one by one. And like I said in the morning, we'll have an opportunity to see all of them at the end of the conference. So thank you to the teams, mainly from Trust Africa and CAPSI, that were at the heart of arranging this. But secondly, I also want to thank the organizers themselves in terms of the partners. I did mention them in the morning, so I wouldn't want to go through the names again, but you are all appreciated for giving us the support, but also the benefit to lead in this process in hosting this meeting here in Victoria Falls. I also want to thank the band that is led by Hope. I don't know if they've gone, but I think we should thank the band for the beautiful music that they gave us this evening. I think the keynote speakers, the plenaries today, the parallel sessions, they were all beautiful, and we are hoping that from tomorrow again, the standards will be going higher and higher and higher. So the pressure is on, colleagues. But thank you for those that have already given their speeches, and those that are yet to give their speeches. Thank you so much for making your time to come here. I realize that I'm not that old, but I'm a bit old. And I'm beginning to see that, you know, I used to collect dots, and now I'm connecting them. And they are making so much sense. A couple of days ago, I met somebody called Margaret Chitika in a meeting that's organized completely different from this. I was with Prof. Maurice, Logan. I don't think you even know this. So I said, this name sounds very familiar. Maybe you are related to somebody that I know. He says, who is that? I said, Rudo Chitika. But the last time I knew of her, she was an ambassador somewhere in France. And she said, no, she's back. She's my sister. She's back in Zimbabwe. She's a permanent secretary. So if I had known, I would have really wanted her to come and open our conference. And she said, here's the number. I said, it might be too late. She said, no, take the number. So I immediately took the number. I texted her. And in less than 5 minutes, Ambassador Chitika responded and said, I'm available. And here she is. So I want to thank you, Ambassador, for giving us this opportunity in such a short notice to actually come through. Many years back, she used to be on the board of the Southern Africa Trust when I was the CEO then. And there were times when I was going through my own succession challenges, and I would fly to Harare. I would fly to Harare to seek wisdom from her. And she would sit me down and take me through the nitty-gritties of governance. I really thank you for that, because I think all those lessons are coming now to, I'm connecting. I'm past the collecting stage now, if you can allow me. I'm 51 years this year, so I'm old. And then I think I want to thank, of course, I've thanked Mama, but I know you will not probably stay throughout till the end of the conference. But just the time that you have given us is so important to the sector. It's so vital to the sector. And so thank you so much. Thank you, Theo, for facilitating a great conversation with Mom. It's always so insightful to hear the story behind the Foundation for Community Development. And there are many other foundations as well that, if we have time, we should actually be documenting those stories. There was a time when I was chatting with Mom about writing some of these stories, and she said, it's not my story, but the stories of women that have been in the forefront of development. So I think we will need to do that. I want to thank Sarah and the committee for leading us up to this moment. It's not an easy task to actually decide a Lifetime Achievement Award. So I really commend you and the committee for having taken us this far. Thank you so much to you and the committee. And of course, at the secretariat level, I want to thank Evans, Ogo, Melody, and the other members of the various teams that were working, supporting the committee to get us to where we are. I want to thank the hotel, the staff. I think we all had some very sumptuous meal tonight. I really loved amalusu. I don't know how to translate it. Is it tribe, right? Yeah, tribe, yeah. Loose, yeah. So let's call it loose tonight. So thank you so much, the hotel staff, the catering. Of course, we cannot have this evening without thanking our facilitator. So firstly, we're really impressed by the title. So there's someone called a conversation strategist. And that's a job. If you go into a profile, you see that this is a job. It's not just a title, it's a job. So thank you so much, Nozi. You've been guiding us so well throughout the day. And of course, we still have 2 more days with you. Looking forward to great insights. Thank you to John Lynn and the team. John Lynn and the team are our events manager. And you've been hearing from them now and then, making us keep to time, but also helping with the logistics. I want to end by letting everyone know here that we have had a situation that we are dealing with. There are colleagues who were meant to attend this conference from Zimbabwe. I understand at the moment 3 of them, we don't know whether that is 3, but at the moment we know that 3 of them were taken off the flight from Harare to Victoria Falls. And the lawyers are actually trying to still locate them. They were taken up from the flight by security personnel. So they're still trying to locate them. We have engaged lawyers to try and lead us into the process. And then tomorrow, if we don't hear from what's going on, we are still waiting for updates, but we are hoping to follow up and see what we could also say as the platform, because they were just attending a philanthropy conference. That's all. They were attending a philanthropy conference. So we just wanted to alert you to that, because it's something that we don't think we should keep to ourselves as the organizers, but to let you know. I know there are some logistics about tomorrow, and I would hand over to you, Nozi. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you very much, Prof. Moyo. I'm not going to keep you for more than a minute, other than just to kindly please remind everyone that we start at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. For those who are ready to depart, the shuttles are ready and revving. For those who want to dance and enjoy the evening, the DJ is on standby and ready, and the shuttles will wait for you as well. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for tonight, and good night.